The preaching was specific. Out of the Old Testament, the way the apostles studied it and handed it over to us was specific information, not generalized information. Specific. May you not end like Delilah. No, that's not the information. May you not end like Samson. No, the preaching there is specific. Preaching is not preaching. Preaching is not preaching. That's why the Greek word kerugma, which is taken from keruzo, specific information, not generalized information. I determine out of all the materials of Genesis to Malachi, I determine to know nothing in it. The only thing I want to know in that material is Christ and him crucified. It's not just preaching. It's not just preaching. So the diet the believer is fed is critical. It's not just preaching. Yesterday somebody asked me on live broadcast, what can I do to grow spiritually? That's a very good question. And I told him, desire the sincere milk. Not just milk, but the milk must be sincere. If there is sincere milk, it means there is adulterated milk. It means there is fraudulent milk. That's why Brother Paul specifies what the believer must feed on: the preaching of Jesus Christ. There was more than Christ in the Old Testament. There was more than Christ. There was history about wars, marriages, births, genealogy, which was key. I mean, you will see wars in the Old Testament, marriages in the Old Testament. You will see all manner of things in the Old Testament. All right? But the essence of the genealogy that we see in the Old Testament was how Christ will emerge. That's why all genealogy ended with Christ. And even the genealogy was biased. That's why we don't know where Peter came from. There's no genealogy on Peter because that's irrelevant to us. So the genealogy is as it affects Christ. Why? Because the entire book is his book. So it was about Christ. Even the history was biased. We didn't see the history of how Paul was born because we don't need it. So the history was the history of the Messiah. The history was his story. You didn't hear that. The history was his story. Okay? The history in the Bible.